Hello,
Great.
Peter.
Guy, listen, my friend, happy 70th birthday. What a celebration. How do you feel?
Well, I feel wonderful. It's a warm and sunny day in Annapolis. Spring has arrived.
Excellent. That's good to hear, my friend. That's absolutely great to hear. We are actually live in the group on the Facebook page and in YouTube at the moment. Hopefully that's all working. We'll find out about that later. But listen, thanks for freeing up some time for us today. That's really much appreciated, Guy. Just the sense of being part of your birthday is fantastic enough, but to get the chance to talk today about the events 4 years ago, we all struggle from time to time with sleep deprivation, and it really does sound that you were on the back foot from the off. I seem to remember a TV interview you were giving, and you even said during that even before the starting line, you were absolutely knackered, and that brought you all the way through to the incidents that we're going to talk about today. Just bring us up to speed there, Guy. What happened?
Well, no, there's no doubt that, I worked really hard 3.5 years to get Spirit ready for the starting line. But the weekend before the start, the promoter, Don McIntyre, informed myself and Pat Lawless that they didn't like our celestial computations that we supplied. So Pat and I had to do a 300-mile solo sail out of 𝘂𝗲𝗸𝗀 just the weekend before the start. So when I got in on Monday morning, I was pretty tired. The fishing fleet in the Bay of Biscay is quite large, so I got very little sleep. And that week of the buildup, you were also going through the inspections to get what we call the green card. So we're not an official entrant skipper in the race until you've been awarded that green card. And I didn't get my green card until I think Thursday before the Sunday start. So I've sailed, over 50,000 miles. I've only been seasick twice. And the Sunday start was a pretty moderate light air start. But when the sun went down, it wasn't that I was seasick, but all of a sudden I was suffering from like vertigo. So I spent about 2.5 days of again, not sleeping well and throwing up, and just putting the boat sort of what I thought was the right direction. And when I recovered and was able to get on the radio, I discovered I was pretty deep in the fleet, and I was unhappy with that. So once I got around Cape Finisterre to sail towards Lanzarote, I really pushed hard. So I didn't have gas in the tank, meaning my own energy to start with. And when I arrived in Lanzarote, I was awake at that moment for about 33 or 36 hours.
Wow.
And I just made
wow.
poor, you talk about, lack of sleep and making poor decisions. I had two safe options to sail away from Fuerteventura, and of course I went on the option, not thinking soundly, that was the fastest route, but it was also the one beside the island. And again, it wasn't horrible conditions. It was only blowing about 10 to 12 knots, but eventually I fell asleep in the cockpit, and there was a wind change, and the boat went up and went on the rocks. So 3.5 years of work and a well-prepared boat, my boat Spirit, was on the rocks, and I was out of the Golden Globe race. So it was a pretty devastating experience to go through, and it was all self-inflicted. There's no one to blame to this except myself. The damage to the boat was extensive. After you remove the damaged fiberglass to the hull was 15 feet long and up to 6 feet tall. Line drawings in the laminate schedule. So we rebuilt we built a mold and rebuilt the hull. And I was able to find a Colombian tradesman who, once I had the fiberglass work done, he went about longboarding and sanding the hull, and I went inside to replace the interior. So from the main bulkhead to the companionway on the port side, all of the cabinetry was gone. So my first career was as a cabinet maker and carpenter. So he worked on the outside of the boat and I worked on the inside. So that the boat got structurally built by the middle of December of 22. So it was a hard job, but we accomplished it.
No, I mean, I've got to take my hat off to you in many ways, Guy. There is any sailor that can rise from being on the knees of having the boat damaged so extensively and not only repair it, but to bring themselves into a state of mind to be able to say, right, give me another shot. That is incredible. But honestly, I really take my hat off to any skipper who's been through some of those distressing times. And we all have it, but not that series of impacts that drove you to that ultimate condition of sleep deprivation. I've had it myself. I mean, nothing like what you guys have been, but you tend to end up making decisions which at the time you think are absolutely clear. And you look back and you go, I did what? So I've had my mainsail, I've had that shredded in the Canaries as well, that really trying wind shifting conditions around the volcanic islands and the Canaries. They actually have charts, I'm sure you've seen it, of the wind acceleration zones, and everywhere's not an acceleration zone is an undependable wind zone. That's how the locals look at it. So yeah, absolutely take my hat off, mate. It's not, go in if you've already arrived at the start line and you're already, your tank is already empty, and then you've got 10 or 11 day push down to the Canaries. Absolutely knackered. Take my hat off, mate.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, other than running aground, the bad part was I had to leave the boat one night when she was on the rocks, because after 3 days, I could not locate anybody to assist me in a way of getting her off the rocks. And sort of a band of gypsies descended on her and stole, about $60,000 of gear. My hydro vane, my ว์generator, my life raft, 4 sails, 2 sextants, all the running rigging, the freeze-dried food. It was quite extensive of what they cleared off.
I mean, were they wreck pickers like locals that knew these sort of things? Or like you say, they were travelers who were just opportunists?
I don't know. I mean, the residents in Fuerteventura, I find just absolutely wonderful. I mean,
yeah,
I got the boat lifted off with a crane after 6 days on the rocks, and moved to Gran Tarajal, which is on the, but it was stolen.
Okay.
So that was sad, and I've been working hard ever since then, getting that equipment replaced.
Yeah, and where are you on that? Is that, can you push that aside now in your own mind, Guy? Because for me, I've been robbed a couple of times, and it puts you on your knees. It's just, can you move past that? I mean, it's quite a challenge, eh?
I mean, in actuality, I probably should not have repaired the boat. But if I would have taken the time to think about my life at that time and the waste that happened because of the accident, I say this as a joke, but I don't know if I would have survived it. So working is better than kicking yourself over and over and over again on mistakes that I made. And they were totally my mistakes. I can't blame it on anyone.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly generous of you, Guy. I tell you why, because there's just not a week that goes by that we don't see in our little community on the Facebook single-handed sailing, you know, reports from all around the world of yet another single-hander. You don't get the full details, but boat wrecked on foreshore, rescue complete. But of course, that sleep deprivation is a ticking time bomb for everyone. You know, you being fortunate enough to be equipped with, because you didn't have an Aries. Which wind vane did you have, Guy?
Hydrovane.
Hydrovane. Okay, so yeah, so I have the same, but yeah, using it anywhere in headlands and stuff like that, you know, it makes me twitch. It absolutely does. But you know, I've done
like
it.
I said,
I've done it.
I could have taken an eastern route or a western route that would have kept me miles away from the shore, and instead I sailed the southerly route right beside the shore. So I mean, on the YB tracker on the GoldenglobeRace.com, you can go back and you can see exactly what happened. You can see exactly where the course changed because of the wind direction, and soon after the accident happened. So you know, like I said, it's done. The boat's repaired. She's she's in Grand Tower Hall and getting ready for the start in September.
We did have a little question, Guy, and I know you're going to be well equipped to cope with this one. There's a gent that wrote in, Douglas Tyson, and he was interested in the process to get, you know, loosely the confidence in the repair and then the adjustment for checking any integrity issues post. I mean, I think there's very few boat builders done such an extensive repair, but I'm sure you're perfectly positioned to be able to just illustrate how you know, the depth that you have to go to make to move that forward.
Well, the mold was what we would call a female mold. So the mold was on the outside of the hull. So the fiberglassing was from the inside, and so that was completed very quickly once the mold was made, probably in about 8 to 10 days. So once that's completed, then the mold on the exterior of the boat is removed, and you see where the hull, you know, is the original hull, and then you have the new glass. So then you chamfer back the existing hull. So you have the overlay on the inside, and then you have about a 6-inch overlay on the outside. So you have new glass laid up on the old hull, and that's how you end up with the confidence. One I built with epoxy, and the original boat is polyester, so that's stronger. Bob Perry gave me the laminate schedule, and I matched that, and so to me the hull is stronger on the damaged side than it is on the starboard side. And due to
you end up having to go. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the great work that Ugo did in longboarding the hull, you cannot see one blemish on the hull between the repair and the existing hull. Really a great job.
I've had tangles with insurers before myself, Guy, and I just wondered if that process led you into some type of insurer's sign off. It's just an open question. I'm guessing, basically.
Well, we don't have insurance on these boats.
Okay. I was hoping you were going to say that, to be honest.
You know, I'm in a marina. I have liability insurance, but I don't have insurance. We don't have insurance on the solo boats in the race. The
No,
ability to come
absolutely.
home, or it's a total loss.
Yeah,
And,
nobody goes near me. Nobody goes near me either when I'm trying it. So, and quite rightly
Yeah.
so.
Don't feel alone.
We're about midway through, Guy, and thanks very much so far. It's been really helpful, and your honesty, mate. It's so refreshing, honestly. Before we move on to the road ahead, I just want to spend a moment, Guy, and talk about. I want to reach out really to the US sailors. You know, part of our community. In fact, it's such a hugely strong community of single-handers in the US. There's over, I think there's approaching 11,000 in our little 33,000 group, and the rest are like Europe and worldwide. But just in the US themselves, it's, you know, approaching 11,000. And I just want to reach out to them and say, look, my friends, it's Guy's 70th birthday. Just lean into that. I'm inviting you to lean into that. It's why not buy Guy a freeze-dried meal so he can celebrate his birthday as he's going around the world on this trip. I just introduced the idea. So on to Guy's left, if you like, there is a QR code on screen, and you can take your phone and take a picture of that. Oh, well done. What a gent you are. What a gent. You made my job so much easier. So you can scan that. That goes straight to Guy's website. It links you straight through to the, what's the word? The correct word is contribution, Guy, and a contribution opportunity for both sponsors who are interested in your, not just your daily rations, but your actual signature wake that you're performing with Spirit. Sorry.
Well, we believe me, everything is wonderful. So we sail with like 40 something weeks of provisions, and then the freeze dried stuff. I put my provisions in dry bags. So every week I would open a dry bag and pull it out and pour it into a bin and such. And we've come up with an idea. If anybody would like to give something larger than one freeze dried meal, is that if you're a sailor and you have a boat, or you're a member of a yacht club, I'm willing for $250 contribution, where you send us either a T-shirt, a hat, or a yacht club 𝗿𝗰𝗲. It can't be something super big or super heavy, and I'll carry it around the world and around Cape Horn. And upon my return to France, we will send it back to you with a signed edition. And
Wow.
if you never make it around Cape Horn, and I still don't know if I'll make it around, but I will be trying. We have the ability to get that accomplished, and that would contribute a whole week of food, of freeze-dried peanuts, granola bars. I'm from the South, oatmeal and grits, and a little bit of chocolate, and of course coffee.
Quite right. Quite right. I have a question on that, Guy. I mean, that's also on your contributions page as well. I've saw that a little.
You know, it's not there yet, but I'm sure we can correct that.
Yeah.
So I mean, once someone goes to the website, then they'll know it and save it. And and of course, I have an Instagram account called Team Spirit Adventures, and I'll probably be creating a video of that, and give you the opportunity to send your item in, and so I'll return it to you with a signed edition of your boat, your T-shirt or hat, you know, and you can say you helped an American go around the world. And the most incredible thing from the American point of view is that since the Golden Globe race started, the single-handed race, and now we have the Vendée Globe, less than about 250 men and women have ever attempted to be in a race like this. In 22, I was the 6th American. Elliott Smith was the 7th, but no American has ever won a solo nonstop race around the world. So I would hope that that myself or one of the other Americans that are in the 26 race might be able to actually crack that egg and put America at the top. It'd be wonderful under these times and conditions that we find ourselves in right now.
Yeah, we need some good news with the Stars and Stripes attached, Guy. That would be fantastic, really, and deserved too. Absolutely, yeah. Bring us up to date, Guy, on Spirit. How is she? I'm particularly interested because the labour of love to me, you know, how do you modify what you already had for any adaptations that you think going forward? Because it gets stacked with spares. There's no room. Go ahead.
No, we don't carry that many spares. We carry the vital things. But since I was out of the race in only 2 weeks, you know, there was no damage, you know, for the boat going halfway around the world and needing a refit of her conditions. And I went back to Fuerteventura in November. I thoroughly checked out Spirit's all of her systems. Everything is up and running. I hauled her, so she's sitting in the boatyard there in Grand Tower Hall. We are reinstalling a hydrovane because that was stolen. When I was there in November, I mounted a wind pilot, so I'm sailing with two wind vanes because the rules we've learned of the GGR: you break the boat, you're out of the race. You break the mast, you're out of the race. And one of the other big fault areas is the wind vanes. So I'm carrying two of two different designs. So that would not be the excuse of me not making it to the finish line. And so redundancy in that particular area to me is important.
But for the new guys coming in, what tip would you give a fresh out the box newbie about single-handing, Guy? I'm not talking about getting up to your level, obviously, but somebody who's just trying to feel their way into it. How do you get started in single-handing? What tip have you got for us?
Oh, what do they say in Nike? Just do it. You know,
wow.
to single handle more than just a few hours, you need some sort of autopilot. Let it be a mechanical one or a wind vane. And then once you do that, just apply, you know, what I would say is the common sense practice. And you should thoroughly enjoy the entire experience. I'm not a spiritual person, but if you read Matissier's books as an example, and it truly is a Zen moment. One of the videos I shot on the way to Lanzarote is I'm sitting there on a sunset beside the mast. I think I'm either wing and wing or I actually have a symmetrical spinnaker up. And I'm sitting there, I smoke cigars, I got a coffee in my hand, and you're just absorbing all of that. And as much as we might love, you know, if you're married, you have a girlfriend, you have children, being alone on a boat truly centers yourself with the boat, the sea, and it's very rewarding to know that you're doing it by yourself without the help of anybody. And if you're new to sailing, it's as easy to learn, if not easier, because you don't have to try to coach or train other people. Just go about it initially and in light to moderate winds and work yourself up. But if you got a good autopilot, you know, to step up to the mast and reef a main or roll up your jib, it's not a big deal. It's very, very easy. In the Golden Globe race, we just do it for a much longer period of time.
Well, and some, but you've made it sound very attractive, Guy. It isn't abandonment of all the skills that you've had in the past, and it's a new story. But you've made it accessible, and we have not talked about this at all. We haven't lined this up or anything. And that little introduction there is gold. Thank you, Guy. That's appreciated, buddy.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I enjoy doing these talks. It sort of centers me on my efforts, because being solo, you know, we don't work with many people. I have a new team manager, a young lady I met when I was up in the Great Lakes this past summer, 𝘲𝗲𝗻𝗻. And she's done a magnificent job of keeping things organized and making these Instagram videos, and they've really helped extend our what my normal reach would have been.
I guess the next question, Guy, is how do you get your head ready for 8 months? I mean, that whole scene to me where you go down to La Salle d'Olonne, forgive me if the pronunciation is nowhere near what it should be. That's rude. Sorry. But, and you go through that. Well, it must be, because I've seen photographs, some type of huge media onslaught and celebration too. And
it's not,
it's
in the Golden Globe, there's media, but it's not. It's just the French people. The response.
Okay.
The response to the Golden Globe race is incredible. I mean, I've sailed in the biggest yachting events in the world practically, and you go on the dock and there's nobody there. You know, when the village opens up, hundreds of thousands of people show up with posters and cards, and you're signing autographs. This is something totally new to, I think, so many sailors, unless you're part of the Vendée Globe, as an example. It's truly a heartwarming.
That's okay.
Just the response of the French people is phenomenal, and they're standing there clapping and cheering. The apartments that overlook the channel, they have their pots and pans out. They're clanging them together. It's a really, really wonderful experience.
I have them cheering too when I leave port, but it's generally see the back of me rather than in celebration of what I'm trying.
Me too, but I don't admit to those things.
Just to drop back a little bit, the attrition rate in the Golden Grove, let's just touch on that. Because Robin Knox-Johnson, he finished 1 out of the entry field back in '68. It's then gone down to 5 finishes, I think, in 18 when John Locke won. And then Kirsten 4 years ago, 3 out of 16. The attrition rate, man, it's just staggering. It's got to be the most extreme isolationist sport ever, with non-stop for 8 months, physical and mental endurance. Unbelievable. Honestly, you have us up all day, all night, watching what's going on your little GGR tracker, and we're looking at the predict wind screen and trying to figure out whether and you can picture yourself, and there is a huge amount of enjoyment. I'm sure that's the same for hundreds, thousands perhaps, of sailors who are looking at that and thinking the challenges that lie ahead when you look at the weather coming up and you can't see any of it. And we're looking vicariously about your challenge in this difficult sporting envelope on single-handing, isolated for up to 8 months. Honest to God, it's a joy for us.
I think you just described it well, but not taking anything against the Vendée Globe, but the Vendée Globe, the record is now 64 days. We're not, the leaders of our race are just approaching Cape Town. It's like we've only sailed 8,000 miles of a 30,000-mile race in the time it takes the Vendée Globe to do it. We're in a boat that's approximately 45% shorter than a Vendée Globe. We're exposed to, obviously, many more days, which means we're exposed to many more opportunities of gales, of doldrums, days in the doldrums, potentially hitting containers, whales. The longer you're in the water, the bigger problem of potentially getting goose barnacles on the boat. So all of that adds up. So my hat's off to anyone that does a solo around the world race. but it truly, I truly acknowledge it for the Golden Globe race because of the time.
Absolutely. Guy, I just want to spend just a short, brief time just to talk about what live stream's coming up next. You've graced us, sir, with coming to explain your condition and readiness for the Golden Globe. But just spend just a second. So what we've got coming up next is a solo sailor who got washed overboard and self-rescued himself back on board. It was a couple of, I think it was, I don't want to guess, but it was certainly wasn't easy. It was sort of like hundreds of miles away from home. He sailed home and it's a cracking story. I don't want to give the whole picture because Andrew Evans is going to be joining us, who's the celebrated single-handing author, lawyer, hockey referee, single-handed sailor. He's done the Transpac, and we're looking forward to that. So back to you, Guy. I just want to just on that other direction we haven't quite understood yet, because there is a massive challenge, even for a layman or a lay seaman that I might aspire to be. How the queue for, or the access route to what would I call partners, that you get the sponsorship report or contribution support for the big window items. You know, the how far are you down on that route? Because of course, this video itself, although it's logged in the single-handed side, its appeal is much broader, because it'd be nice to understand how difficult that is, mate. Go ahead.
Well, this last summer, in July, I did not see myself at the starting line, and I did the 2 Mackinac races, and I met a gentleman. His name's Rodney Keenan, and I had 3 conversations with him, totaling about 3 hours. One in Port Huron, one in the Pink Pony in Mackinac Island, the others in the lobby of the Chicago Yacht Club. And Rodney is the CEO of Evolution Sails, which is one of the big Grand Prix sailmakers based out of Auckland. And they've got lofts around the world. They've got a loft here and in the East Coast. I mean, Annapolis. I think theirs is in Deltaville. And Rodney offered to replace the stolen sails.
Oh, wow.
And all of a sudden it was like, because we're talking, $30,000, $40,000 of sales. So all of a sudden I was thinking, well, there might be a possibility. And then I after that, I came back to Key West, which is my home. And out of the blue, I get a message from a man I've met once. It says, I'm in town. Can we meet for coffee? And that gentleman contributed, the $20,000 to the entry fee. And then, then I knew I had to really jump. So where I exist right now is I don't have the funds for the medical kit, which comes from MSOS, the medical team out of England, which is about 2,000 pounds. I still have to put a race bottom on the boat in 𝘄ventura, and I still need my provisions. So those are the 3 main items that need to be accomplished for me to be on the starting line. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that that lo and behold, from nickel and diming, in America, it's not coming from corporate sponsors. They just have much bigger opportunities than the little small market of sailing. It comes from individuals. In 22, I raised $330,000 from individuals. The problem is a lot of those individuals
exemplary, mate. Take my hat off. I didn't have a clue.
A lot of those individuals on this time said, I need to find new friends. And I have. I mean, I've raised over $140,000 so far, but there's still probably another 20 to go.
So, Guy, when you get going, mate, and I mean back on board, and what I'd like to say is you're a statesman sailor, Guy. It'd be great if you thought, I've got a spare 5 minutes. phone in. We'll put you live straight off the bat. We don't need any introduction. Just give us a short update. And I think it just builds momentum behind what you're trying to do. And we can
you're spreading the word. You've got developed such a huge following of single-handed sailors. I had no idea that there were 11,000 Americans following this, and North Americans. So
yeah, no,
that's incredible.
I think actually, in part, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but in part, I think the popularity of the Golden Grove race in part has driven that. And of course,
yeah,
if we can attempt to be clearer, which I'm not the best at, but explain what the challenges are, you know, it just makes that access route much better. And that's part of what we'd like to do with Andrew Evans and, you know, his authorship on solo sailing. That's how I got into single-handed and finding his book, or it found me. But, you know, that would be great. I just asked that question. The wind's picked up here a little bit in Grenada. Sorry about if the audio's, but just a question there, Guy, if you keep in the back of your mind, can you send us if you get on camera a picture of you giving Fuerteventura one of those when you sail Asta, if you don't mind, that would be a lovely keepsake that we can buy into. You can autograph it and sell it. That would be great. That was about that. Honest to God.
I'll tell you what. I've got the photographs of in a folder like on Google Drive that's shareable. So if anyone's interested, I'll share that with you on your website so people can look and see the whole reconstruction of Spirit. It is one of the highlights of my life because she's ready to go. Absolutely. No, that would be lovely, Guy. We've got to wrap up shortly, and yeah, I think just the moment that you spent just giving that tip for newbie single-handers, mate, an absolute go. And I want to thank you for your time. I want to say God bless to you, Guy, the GGR team, and I think the other entrance. What, 25 other sailors are heading out? We're at 26 right now. And this group, this group is more experienced, and I think a lot of them are going to make it to the starting line. Wow.
Well, maybe more of them will make it to the finishing line. That's what we all want. That's what we all want, buddy.
Yeah, I started a WhatsApp group amongst the skippers, so we've been sharing information amongst ourselves, and they're learning from one another. You know, Pat Lawless, this will be his second time. Damien will be his second time, but he doesn't communicate much. His English is very limited. And 𝘄𝗲𝗄𝗏, who was in the 2016 race, 2022 race, he just bought the winner of the 2018 Rustler to come back. So actually, I guess we're at 27. We have 27 skippers.
Wow. Hey, Guy, you could do us a favor, mate, and just say, give Peter a bell. He'd like to talk to you about having a chat about single-handing on a live stream. Hope it's been a lovely experience for you, Guy. I'm just going to wrap up. Happy 70th, my friend. Give our love to your team, to Spirit, of course. Don't forget your family. And, of course, all those quirky sailors stateside. Let's not forget. And whatever partnerships you bring on, mate, that's absolutely fantastic. Thanks very much for giving us all this time, Guy. I know you're stretched.
Right,
you run a business, run a family.
One last shout out is the website spirit-adventures.com, and you'll learn more about the race and my efforts. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. I really appreciate it.